All life begins with a seed. Now pay close attention. This is a child being born of the Holy Ghost. This is the only begotten Son of God. This is not Abraham's seed. Jesus didn't come from Abraham's seed. Now he took on Abraham's seed, but he was a holy seed. No sin in him. He would not sin. He would die on the cross before he would sin against his holy Father. This is the holy seed. If you want to follow God and know what he's doing, learn the seed. Now here you can follow God. This is what God's doing. This is his children. He filled them with the Holy Ghost. This was on the day of Pentecost, and you had about 120 Christians on earth. And that's all you had. Because without the Spirit of Christ, you're none of his. Now watch the Holy Ghost seed. Follow the seed, and you can see what God's doing. You don't know him by doctrine. You know him by this incorruptible seed. See, Adam's seed is corrupt. It sins. Now here's James. Why are they killing him? Because he's got a different doctrine? No. They're killing James because he's a different seed. He's of the seed of Jesus. Jesus is going to destroy this world, and Satan knows it. He's got to kill off all of his seed. And this is James. They had two James that was apostles. This was James, the brother of John. He was a pillar in the church, and Satan had to do him in. You see them people killing him? That's Adam's seed. That's the first man, Adam. Under him all had sinned. Even Abraham and them sinned because they was under the Adam seed. Now here's Stephen, filled with the Holy Ghost. This is Adam's seed. See Adam's seed? They're killing Stephen's because they're of the corruptible seed. They are corrupted by Satan. Adam and Eve gave themselves over to Satan, and they're the serpent seed. Now you got to see the two different seeds. You're letting people fool you in the world today by doctrines and teachings and all. Satan can come up with all kinds of them, but there's only two seeds. Watch the seed. Now follow the seed. Follow the seed. Now what's happening to Peter? He's wanted dead or alive. He escaped from prison. The angel got him out. And the Catholics thought he was their first pope. He wasn't their pope. He was running from Herod. They wanted to kill him. They was going to kill him. They'd already killed James, and they was going to kill Peter. The last you read about Peter in biblical history, he was a convict. He was an escaped convict because he was a seed of Jesus Christ, and they wanted him dead or alive. And they tell us he was the first pope. The last place he would go was Rome. They was going to kill him. Now, Paul did wind up in Rome, but he was over there testifying. But Nero had his head cut off. Now, why did they kill him? They said he hadn't done nothing wrong. The King Agrippa said, if this man hadn't appealed unto Caesar, well, I'd let him go free. He done nothing wrong, like Pilate said about Jesus. I don't find no evil in him. They killed him because he's going to destroy this world, because these are the men of the Most High God, and they show us the way of salvation. It's a seed, children. Watch for the seed. Now, here's the last Christian mentioned in biblical history. This is Antipas. He's in the 2nd chapter of Revelations, where Satan's seed is. See, Satan had already infiltrated the churches. This was a seed of God. Satan had to kill him because he would tell you what God wanted. He would do God's will because God was in him. It's not different doctrines. It's the seed. It's the seed. Antipas was the seed of the living God, and Satan's seed is of Adam's seed, and they live after the flesh, and Antipas lived after the Spirit. Now here's the Catholic Church wiping out the Gnostics. The Gnostic, it simply means knowledge in Greek. It's a Greek word. Now the Roman Church, they went after them for heresies. This is the ones that were scattered after the temple was torn down. Thomas and Philip and some of the other apostles went toward Egypt. And they were Gnostics. Well, the Roman church and the Roman army was after them. They wiped their seed completely out and all their literature out by the 5th century. Now, they changed their literature and all till it makes it look like they're funny people. If they was Gnostics, spiritual people. Now, here you see Jesus' seed showed up in 1650. Watch for the seed now. Follow the seed. Follow the seed. Here the seed showed up. He said, it's God in me. George Fox said, there's a light shining in me. And what did they do to him? They hung him. They put him in prison for years and years and years. And they died in prison, hundreds of them. And they finally overflowed them with a flood that I'm going to show you about. And they killed off the Quakers. Now watch the seed. Watch the seed. Here's Agnes Osmond. One person on Azusa Street got the Holy Ghost, and Satan sent thousands of them against her. They snowed her so much she couldn't believe she was a Christian. She's carrying the Bible. If you're in a city where there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands and millions of people in hundreds of churches, and you think you're the only Christian there? You may be. There's not many Holy Ghost people. Today, the Pentecostal church is only second to the Catholic church. The largest church. Satan built so many churches on that you can't even get the Holy Ghost in there. Now, here's a hoax. They always said Christians was fighting over the Bible. It don't have nothing to do with Christians. None of us Christians fought. This is the serpent seed. They knew who got the book controlled. And the Catholic Church was wounded. They'd been controlling by this book, but now the Protestants got it. It was a war between the Protestants and Catholics. It was all Adam's seed. This is all the serpent seed. Nothing to do with Jesus' seed fighting for a Bible. They don't fight for Bibles. John got the whole book of Revelations in one setting. We can get the Bible out of the Spirit. Now here's Hohokam. That means those who are gone. I'm going to show you how they wipe out a culture. They come over, the white Europeans come over to America. They said the only good Indian's a dead Indian. And they'd put smallpox, give them blankets that was disease, and they wiped them out. This is in the Gila Valley out in Arizona where they got old Geronimo. They wiped Geronimo out, sent him to prison down in Florida and wiped out his people. Now here's Wounded Knee. They wipe them out. But old Custer caught it one time. The Indians got together, and it wasn't women and children waiting for him at Little Bighorn, and they had to get even with them here. This is Wounded Knee. They wiped old Custer out. They had Sioux warriors and Cheyenne braves down there waiting for him. And after that, they killed them at Wounded Knee. They just shot them down like dogs, and they wipe them out. That's the way the European Puritans do. The Anglicans, the Church of England, and the Methodists, and the Baptists, and the Catholics. Now here's the way they destroy you today. Watch how they destroy the seed. This harlot sets up on many waters, because that's a flood of people. He sends a flood after you, Satan does. He's got so many people today emulating Christ. You can sit in a church and you say, I wish this meeting was over. I'd like to go somewhere and worship God. You could be a Christian. You could be Holy Ghostal. There's so many emulators out there today. So many people carrying Bibles around saying they're Christians. You can't tell a Christian today. But it's going to change pretty soon. Now here's a flood. He sent a flood. He sent millions of people. I've been in a town where I'd be the only Christian in town. Oh, this is the last of the Christians. You're going to see the last of the Christians now. They're coming up now. Watch real close. You're going to see the seed. If you was in this scene right here, you wouldn't even know it, because you would be just a little seed amongst thousands of people. You say, what's wrong with me? I feel out of place. You are out of place. You're amongst the sinners. You can catch diseases amongst them Bible worshipers. They're diseased people. They're the seed of Satan. Now they put you in New York City. You might be the only one in Chicago. And they say, you're the only seed there. That's right. There's not many of us left. There's only a handful of Holy Ghost people left. Satan's killed us all. They put them in mental institutions. They choke them to death. This seed that choked to death, it can't get no air. They're around you. You're in a church and you say, oh, Lord, what's wrong with me? I'm out of place. You're a different seed. You're a different seed. They go after the flesh. They want the big buildings. They want the robes. And they want to sing in the choir. Now, here's Jesus transfigured. Nobody can tell how that happened. But he was a holy seed. And we're going to be transformed. You're going to see the last of the Christians now. And the Christians is coming out. And God told me in Fitzgerald, Georgia, in 1977, when I was praying for a word from God, a hole opened up in heaven. I could see the stars. And God spoke to me down through that hole. And he said, the sons of God will be manifested. Children, you that followed me and hearing my voice, you get ready. God's going to be speaking. God's going to do something. And he's going to show his seed. Now listen, my voice will be heard again. He told me that day. I fell out in a trance, and God told me that his voice would be heard again in the land. This is going to be the good seed. And if you feel out of place, you could be a Christian. You could be, if you was raised by a child and God showed you things when you were little, you could belong to Jesus Christ. Watch his seed. Watch for the seed. You can see black men, white men, red men, and brown men, and Orientals, but watch for the Holy Ghost men and women. This is Jesus' seed.